right, welcome back, YouTube. I wanted to do an update on AMC and more so just covering the scenario that we're really in and why they continuously keep shorting and why pretty much they put themselves in a position now where they kind of have to. And I want to put this proposal out there. You guys can let me know what you guys are thinking. But remember when this initially popped off and we were around like the $60 range? Well, even before then, like that January of around, I want to say 2020, when AMC initially was around like $1.98. And they had pretty much shorted it down there around like $5. That was around their average of the amount of the majority of the shorts kind of taken out. And they tried to short it down. They did to around a little less than $2. And then, of course, that's when everyone kind of piled in and then it shot up. And they had just the losses and stuff just from that, and until they were kind of able to do a lot of the tricky stuff, start dark pooling. That's when Motley Fool and all that kind of stuff started putting out all these articles and stuff to try and publicly bash it, to do everything they can to kind of get these prices down. But what we can't forget is they've combated the shorts that they've already had with more shorts. And I think we can't forget that is the fact that they have shorts from $1.98 all the way up through $60. And all of those shorts, even the ones that they're continuously shorting now, I think the shorts that they did today, at least borrowed shares, were around 500,000 shares today. So even right now, every day, these we see things where, like the last couple of days, our turnover rate has been 20 to I think a high of 34%. Right. So we're talking about 70 to 80% of the people or institutions that hold AMC are holding AMC. They're not turning them over. We have, I think the high so far of this week has been like 35% turnover rate. Right. So it's not like we're having these astronomical turnovers compared to the amount of borrowed shares and stuff that we've seen over the last week. That doesn't match. Obviously, like we talked about in the last video, inflow versus outflow. I'm pulling it up here on my phone. That almost never matches, and organically speaking, if more people buy an asset, it should appreciate. Supply and demand. You're depreciating the amount of shares that's available, and the asset should go up. But as we know for AMC, that's not the case. We have inflow of 189 million, outflow 167 million, right? So we did see a bump today in price, but overall, when the inflow is substantially higher, we're talking about 10, 20, 30 million more per day, we should have an increase in price. But you know how, if you haven't watched my video on how shorts work and stuff like that, most of you who are following AMC, you're very well versed in the manipulation and creating synthetic shares and creating a negative sell order today with the promise to buy it back in the future and all that kind of stuff. But this is how they give you the illusion of the actual price right now when the organics of the matter don't align. But what we have to kind of keep in mind is the totality of the fact is they've been shorting this from $60 down to $1.98, even with their new shorts kind of combined on that. And so even with the original shorts that they have to return, think about all the new shorts that they're taking out. They have to return those as well. Their only solution now really is, even with these additional shares and stuff in there, is to try and get AMC to zero or to bankruptcy. To try and get as close to zero as possible or bankruptcy. They cannot afford for AMC to raise money and eliminate its debt and put itself in a position to really be able to survive long term. The whole thing is, and this is kind of where I said that we, as a community and as an investor, we have no idea how big this is, because when I was talking about my last video, is the reason I think this is kind of personal, because financially, either this is just astronomical, and even like the MOAS that we've been talking about, it doesn't even compare to actually what's going on behind the scenes, and it's actually much bigger than we've all even imagined. Or it's on the personal aspect, because if you look at this from a financial standpoint, there would be financially it'd be suicide to keep continuing to do this, unless it was worth it, unless the numbers made sense on the back end. That's the only way that you can justify this financially, is to say that, okay, well, unless we got a way that we can trade and jump out of these shorts without being noticed, it doesn't make sense to short something from 60 bucks, from 20 bucks down to $2, and then all the way back up to 60 bucks, and then all the way back down again. And hold these shares and pay 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 900% interest to borrow these shares unless it made sense financially. These institutions, investors, hedge funds, all the alike, they have one common goal, and that goal is to make money. So these numbers, they have to be justified somewhere. And so that's why I believe this is just really just a lot bigger than what we think. And this is one of the reasons why they are going to have to continue to attack and short AMC as in right now, especially with the numbers that we're seeing now. We're probably going to continue to see higher inflows and outflows. We're going to continue to see these low turnover rates. We're going to see 75, 80% of people, of the shareholders, holding those shares, even though we're going to see these sharp dips and sell-offs and stuff like that. And we're going to see these borrow rates and stuff kind of creep back up, and kind of keep an idea on like how many shares that are being borrowed like per day and stuff like that. But this is going to be the ultimate goal, because I believe they got themselves in a position where they kind of need AMC to go bankrupt, or down to like zero, or to kind of stop, or I'd say really just cut the flow of the shares and stuff that's going on there. Because I think that the tone was going to be, okay, well, they're going to dilute the shareholders don't want the dilution of shares. They don't want the additional shares. But if we dilute the shares, at some point they're going to, just sell off into the market, and go and move on to like another play and stuff like that. But the numbers that I'm seeing are suggesting otherwise. It's suggesting that even with the dilution of shares, people are actually buying more. People are still holding, and people are buying more. That's what the data is saying. I'm looking at the inflow outflow. I'm looking at the turnover rates. The data is showing people are buying more shares and they're holding. So now they're going to have to kind of go through this yo-yo again of, okay, well, we need to, because the only option now I think is, because even right now it's like the numbers are so like blatant, and even with the dilution, they see that people aren't going anywhere, and they're going to have to try and force AMC into bankruptcy in order to have a shot at trying to cover some of these positions. Because remember, that's what a short order is. There's just a promise to buy. They have to actually buy these shares at some point, right? They're going to pay these entry, these fees and stuff like that. And even now, like when they're going to have to try and swap some of these those shares that they purchased over like the last month or so, like when the interest was like 700-800%, stuff like that. They're going to have to come back into the market and try and swap that out. No one's going to continue to pay that. But as far as for an exit plan, and that's kind of what I was looking at this, like, what is their exit plan? What if the community as a whole continued to buy? What if they continue to hold at large? And that's kind of what's happening. How could they exit this? And outside of just admitting defeat and covering the shares now, and obviously sending the price astronomically higher, their only strategy left, for them to quote unquote win, would be to try and force AMC into bankruptcy and not give them an opportunity to raise the capital and stuff that they wanted. So that is, I'm going to look for what I'm going to be looking for in the coming weeks is going to be obviously swaps, any like spikes and stuff like that, as far as for in the available shares, the amounts that's borrowed. I think right now, as of closing today, we had about 1.5 million that were available, down from around 2 million earlier today. So, around 500,000 borrowed. And we're going to kind of see what their strategic tactics are going to be, because I know that obviously they're going to have to continue to short, and we're probably going to see some other stuff around, like in the media and all that kind of stuff like that, of bankruptcy news, and AMC struggling and AMC bankrupt within 6 months and stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm expecting to kind of come out over like the next month or so, kind of get like that panic in there. And especially with it being, I think, like $12.73 right now, they're going to say, hey, look, you guys are in AMC, you apes, you people, you were wrong, but it's $12.73 now. That's better than zero. You better go ahead and sell, get out now, and at least you get something. And I think that's kind of where the angle is going to be over like the next a few months going into like the Q4 of this year. And that's kind of something things I'm going to be looking for. So let me know what you think about as far as for my I guess my hypothesis on the strategy going forward. But for me, based off the numbers that I'm seeing, that's what makes sense. That's kind of going to have to be their course of action, because even now with the shorts that's continuously being taken out, they've layered shorts on top of shorts on top of shorts. And this is really like, I think like the third, fourth cycle that we've seen as far as for trying to push it back down this range. And they're finding shorts with shorts. And, you know, we know the numbers don't add up. They don't make sense. So I think the only exit strategy they have besides just, you know, trying to cover it, if they can at this point, is to force AMC into bankruptcy. So let me know your thoughts, comments in the comment section. I love to hear from you guys. That is my AMC update. I appreciate all of you. Like, comment, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video.